Welcome to the Empowerista interview series on Business Rockstars. I'm Alex Worley, joined by Jill DeJong, the author of Models Do Eat. That's right. You wear a lot of hats. You're also a model and a fitness coach. So really excited to dive in about your journey. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
Yes. Okay, so let's just start off with what was the inspiration behind this book?
Well, I was traveling for many years around the globe as an international fashion model, and I was constantly sleep deprived and did not have the best eating habits. I fell into the trap of calorie counting. I started eating a lot of diet products. So I was also consuming a lot of chemicals, artificial sweeteners, and it really did not make me feel good. So I had recurring health issues, and I didn't know how to fix it. It was centered around my immune system, a weakened immune system. And so I really wanted to figure out what was wrong with me and how I could fix it. So I was looking for many, many years, and then I finally found a nutritionist who changed my life because he explained to me that the health issues that I was dealing with were rooted in an acidic environment of my body. Now, we should all typically have, for optimal health, a pH of 7.3, and you can test it with a pH test strip. And mine was way below that. So my body was acidic, and the disease can thrive in an acidic environment. So the diagnosis was that I had to heal my gut. I had to eat less bread, less dairy, less sugar, all the things I love.
Yeah, I was about to say, oh, that sounds really sad.
I know, right? So I felt really sad. I was hungry on the cleanse that he put me on. At the time, I also didn't really cook a lot for myself. Like, I didn't really know how to cook well. So I realized that if I really wanted this to be a permanent lifestyle and really heal my body and feel better, I needed to commit to cooking for myself and taking care of myself. Now, initially, the book proposal got rejected, but I was fortunate enough to get really good feedback. They said, Jill, we really like what you're all about, what you do, your message, but we want you to become an expert in the field of health and wellness, not just a passionate newfound chef. And I'm like, all right, that makes sense. And we want you to have more followers. Okay, I'll work on that. So
the follower thing, how many times has an entrepreneur heard that one? Right? Yeah, lots of pressure, but yes, please continue.
So, but I took their advice. I was like, okay, these are really good rejections. And so this whole journey of the rejections turned into this whole new career that I never thought of for myself.
I love your mindset around that because so many people would receive that rejection and go, oh, this is just not meant to be, or it's too hard, or, that's for other people. But you're like, okay, this is the obstacle and I can figure this out. Like, they want me to be an expert. I can be an expert.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
And nothing is easy. Getting followers, building a business as you have, it's not easy, but you can figure it out. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that point when you went from model to, hey, I'm going to become a fitness expert. What were some of the first steps that you took?
Well, first, you need to study something, right? So to prove, you got to have that piece of paper in your hand because people do love to hear that you're certified in something. And so that's the first step. But second step is really to get out there because I do feel like a lot of health coaches find it hard to believe in themselves, to build confidence, to sell themselves. And as a model, I always had to represent myself. My agents would send me out, and I was used to getting rejected a lot. So I never took it personally. When I started modeling, I thought of myself as a brand, as a product, and I went through 200, maybe 1,000 castings in my lifetime, and I just always showed up and did my very best, and that was my motto. Like, I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I just have to show up and do my very best, because then you will never regret how you show up, or you could have done better, because in that moment you've done your very best. So same thing really applied to health coaching. Like, I started spreading the word. I was like, hey, I'm a health coach. And because I do represent, or I look natural and healthy and fit, like, people go like, okay, you know what? I believe that you can help me.
And you are such a good example of how you can really pivot your career. You've been a model for a long time, and then you pivoted into fitness coach, author, all these other titles. Tell me a little bit about, because of the fact that you are your brand, how you've been able to kind of seamlessly transition into different roles.
Well, nothing is seamless. First of all,
I should say you make it look seamless.
Yeah. Well, I'm a very determined person, and I work really hard, and I'm very passionate. So that those characteristics I think are important to be an entrepreneur, because there are so many ups and downs. There's so many obstacles. There's so many times that you can give up and not continue. But if you feel like you're really ignited by this desire that you want to help and share and keep doing that, it's natural to keep going, and you will find ways to continue even though there's roadblocks. And what I've learned is that those roadblocks are really valuable. They usually redirect me to places that I never thought I would want to go or could go, and it ends up being better than the scenario that I had in mind for myself. And also the book it's not a diet. It's about inspiring women to take excellent care of their body and mind. It's not, we don't say eat this, do that. We say, hey, this is how we healed ourselves. This is how we feel good. This is what we like to eat. Try it and see how you feel.
Yeah.
And do more of what feels good and do less of what not feels good.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm also glad that, and I honestly, I'm so grateful that I did not get that book deal in 2013, because at the time when I was pitching, the publishing house asked me, but what diet is it? What kind of, I'm like, well, that's the whole point. It's not a diet.
Right, right.
And, but they wanted to sell a diet. And I think the timing was right, because now everyone is tired of diets and we just want to feel good and have a balanced life. I'm also not an obsessive person. Like, I do eat, good carbs. I do eat a pizza. I do eat the things that people think I don't eat. And it's about that balance, 80-20 rule. Like 80% of the time, make great decisions. 20%.
Yeah, love it. Well, I know that this is something that entrepreneurs need to hear about, because we're busy and it's really hard to eat for what feels good to us. Yeah. So check it out. Models Do Eat. Jill, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
This has been the Empowerista interview series on Business Rockstars. I'm Alex Worley, and we'll see you next time.